Captain Jake Morrison stood at the large window of Unity 7 station and watched the stars beyond. The space station was huge and made of white metal that shined in the light of the nearby sun. This was the place where humans talked to the Galactic Council and tried to make peace with the 12 alien races that ruled most of the galaxy. Jake had short brown hair and wore a blue uniform with gold stripes on his shoulders. He was 35 years old and had spent 10 years working with aliens. Today felt different, though. The air in the station felt heavy, like something bad was going to happen. Ambassador Lisa Park walked up behind him. She was a smart woman with black hair and kind eyes. She had been talking to the council for 3 hours, but her face looked worried. They made up their minds before we even started talking, Lisa said quietly. High Chancellor Vexitar from the Zentari race brought a long list of things they say we did wrong. Jake turned to look at her. What kind of things? They say we fight too much. They say we build too many warships. They say we take over planets too fast and don't ask permission. Lisa shook her head. They are scared of us, Jake. They think humans will take over the whole galaxy. The council meeting room was on the other side of the station. It was a big round room with seats for all the different alien races. The Zentari were tall and thin with purple skin and big heads. They thought they were the smartest race in the galaxy. The Valdorians looked like giant lizards and had been around for thousands of years. There were also the small blue Kefri, who could live in space without suits, and many other strange alien races. Commander Ryan Bell was already in the meeting room checking the security. Ryan was a big man with strong arms and a serious face. He did not trust aliens much and always watched for danger. He saw the way the aliens looked at the human delegation, and he did not like it. Ambassador Park called High Chancellor Vexitar in his high voice. Please take your seat so we can begin. Lisa walked to the human section of the room. There were only 4 humans here today compared to dozens of aliens. The humans looked very small in this big room full of strange creatures. Vexitar stood up, tall on his long legs. His big black eyes looked at each human. The Galactic Council has called this meeting to discuss the human problem. For 50 years, humans have spread across the galaxy like a disease. You fight wars with peaceful races. You refuse to follow our rules. You build weapons that could destroy whole planets. Jake felt his hands make fists, but he stayed quiet. Lisa had told him to let her do all the talking. We have evidence, Vexitar continued. The human colony on Zerion Prime attacked the local Melloran settlers without reason. Human warships patrol areas that belong to other races. Humans refuse to limit their military like all council races must do. A big Valdorian named Elder Gromax spoke next. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. Humans are young and violent. In our long history, we have seen races like this before. They always bring war and death to peaceful systems. Lisa stood up slowly. She was not as tall as the aliens, but her voice was strong. Honored members of the council, humans have been part of this galaxy for 50 years. In that time, we have helped many races. When the plague hit the Kefri homeworld, human doctors worked day and night to find a cure. When the Outer Rim pirates attacked trade ships, human fleets protected the merchant vessels. When the Great Earthquake destroyed 3 cities on Valdor, prime human engineers helped rebuild them. Some of the smaller alien races nodded their heads. The Kefri representative made clicking sounds that meant agreement, but Vexitar raised his hand for silence. Yes, humans have done some good things, but the danger is too great. Your race learns too fast. Your weapons get stronger every year. Your colonies grow too quickly. Other races fear you, and that brings chaos to our peaceful galaxy. The room became very quiet. Jake could hear the hum of the station's machines and the breathing of dozens of different alien species. He knew what was coming next. The Galactic Council has voted, Vexitar announced. 9 races voted to remove humans from Council space. 3 races voted to let humans stay. The decision is final. Lisa's face went white. Ryan's hand moved toward his weapon, but Jake gave him a look that said no. You are giving us 6 months to leave, Vexitar continued. All human colonies must be abandoned. All human ships must go beyond the outer rim. Any humans found in Council space after that time will be treated as invaders. This is wrong, Lisa said. Her voice shook with anger. We helped build this council. We signed the peace treaties. We followed your laws. Your laws, said a small alien with green skin. You never really accepted our ways. You always wanted to do things the human way. Elder Gromack spoke again. This is for the good of the galaxy. Humans are too dangerous to live among peaceful races. Jake had heard enough. He stood up and his boots made loud sounds on the metal floor. All the aliens looked at him. Some moved back in their seats because humans were known to be strong and quick to fight. You make a big mistake today, Jake said in a calm voice. Humans are not your enemy. We came to the stars looking for friends and knowledge. We shared our medicine and our technology. We fought beside you against pirates and monsters. Today you throw away 50 years of friendship because you are afraid. Vextar's big eyes got narrow. Captain Morrison, you prove our point. Humans always think they know better than everyone else. Maybe we do, Jake said. Maybe that's what scares you. The meeting ended quickly after that. The aliens filed out of the room making strange sounds in their different languages. Some sounded happy. Others sounded worried. The humans were left alone in the big empty room. Lisa sat down hard in her chair. Tears ran down her face. 50 years of work. 50 years of trying to build something good. All gone because they fear us. Ryan put his hand on her shoulder. We'll be okay. Humans always find a way to survive. Jake looked out the window again at the stars. Somewhere out there beyond the outer rim was dark space that no one had explored. The aliens thought they were sending humans into exile. Maybe they were really sending them toward something much bigger. Pack everything, Jake told his team. We have 6 months to get ready for the biggest move in human history. The Unity 7 station kept spinning slowly in space. Soon it would be empty of humans. But Jake knew this was not the end of their story. It was just the beginning of something the aliens would regret for a very long time. 5 years had passed since the Council threw humans out of their space. Dr. Amy Carter stood in the control room of New Geneva Station and looked at the screens showing their new home. The station was built inside a huge asteroid that spun slowly around a bright orange star. This star was dangerous and threw out deadly storms of energy every few weeks. The Council had called this place too dangerous for any race to live here, but humans had made it work. Amy was a thin woman with red hair and smart green eyes. She had been a medical doctor when humans lived in Council space, but now she led the Human Survival Initiative. Her job was to make sure the human race could live in this harsh new place they called the frontier sectors. The asteroid station was much different from the fancy Unity 7. The walls were rough rock covered with metal plates. The air sometimes smelled like mining dust and machine oil, but it was home to 50,000 humans and it was safe from the aliens who had kicked them out. Admiral Ben Harper walked into the control room. He was a big man with gray hair and scars on his hands from working on ships. Before the exile, he had been just a captain, but now he commanded all human military forces. The Council had thought they were weakening humans by forcing them to leave, but they were wrong. The new shield generators are working perfectly, Ben said. When the star threw that energy storm at us yesterday, our shields did not even flicker. The old Council technology would have failed in 5 minutes. Amy smiled. Living near this dangerous star had forced humans to build better shields than anyone in the galaxy had ever made. They had learned to use the star's own energy to power their station and ships. What the aliens saw as a death trap, humans had turned into a fortress. Captain Kate Adams came into the room carrying a data pad. Kate was young, with short blonde hair and bright blue eyes. She led the human exploration teams that went into the dark space beyond the frontier to look for new worlds and resources. I have good news from the latest scouting mission, Kate said. We found 3 more systems with planets that can support human life. No signs of Council races anywhere near them. There are also some asteroid fields with rare metals that we need for our new technology. Ben looked at the star charts on Kate's pad. Any signs of hostile aliens? Some pirates, but nothing we cannot handle. There is something else, though. We met some traders from a race called the Thrakari. They are not part of the council, and they seem very interested in doing business with us. Amy was excited by this news. What kind of business? They want our shield technology and medical supplies. In exchange, they can give us rare elements and information about this part of the galaxy. They say the council has ignored dozens of intelligent races out here. This was exactly what Amy had hoped for. The council had treated humans like dangerous children who needed to be controlled. But out here in the frontier, humans were meeting races who saw them as equals and potential allies. A communication signal came through the station systems. The operator was a young man named Carl, who had been working the night shift. Dr. Carter, we are getting a message from Captain Lisa Park on the exploration ship Discovery, Carl said. She says it is urgent. Lisa had been the human ambassador to the council 5 years ago. After the exile, she had become the leader of human diplomatic efforts. She spent most of her time traveling between human colonies and making contact with non-council races. Amy pressed the communication button. Lisa, this is Amy. What did you find out there? Lisa's voice came through, filled with excitement. Amy, you need to see this. We found the remains of an ancient civilization on the 4th planet of the Ross system. The technology is far beyond anything the council has ever built. Some of their machines are still working after thousands of years. Ben leaned closer to the communication device. Any idea what happened to the beings who built it? Gone for a very long time, but they left behind incredible knowledge. Their computers contain star maps of the entire galaxy, including areas the council has never explored. There are also weapon designs and ship blueprints that could change everything. Amy felt her heart beat faster. Can you bring some of the technology back to New Geneva? Already on my way. We'll be there in 6 days. Amy, this could be the breakthrough we have been looking for. The council kicked us out because they were afraid we would become too powerful. Wait until they see what we can do with this ancient technology. After the communication ended, Amy walked to the large window that looked out into space. She could see human ships moving between the asteroids, mining metals and building new stations. In the distance, the orange star pulsed with dangerous energy that their shields easily turned away. Dr. Kethra entered the control room. Kethra was not human, but a member of a race called the Nexari. The Nexari had been kicked out of council space 2 years after the humans for asking too many questions about council policies. Kethra had purple skin and 4 arms and was one of the best scientists Amy had ever worked with. The new mining operation is producing better results than we hoped, Kethra said in her musical voice. The rare elements we are finding in these asteroids do not exist anywhere in council space. We can build ships and weapons that the council cannot even imagine. Amy nodded. How are our people adapting to life out here? Better than anyone expected. Humans seem to thrive when they face challenges. The young ones who were born here in the frontier do not even remember council space. They think of themselves as explorers and pioneers, not exiles. Ben looked at the tactical displays showing human patrol ships. Our fleet is 3 times bigger than it was when we left council space. Every ship is faster and stronger than anything the council races have. The pirates, who used to raid this area, now avoid human patrols. Kate studied the exploration reports. There are rumors among the trader races about problems in council space. They say some of the smaller council races are not happy with Zentari and Valdorian control. There is talk about trade wars and border disputes. Amy was not surprised. The council had always been held together by fear of outside threats. With humans gone, they had no common enemy to unite against. Now they were probably fighting among themselves. A young technician named Pete ran into the control room. His face was red and he was breathing hard. Dr. Carter, you need to come to the Deep Space Monitoring Station right away. We are picking up strange signals from the direction of the galactic core. The computer cannot identify what is sending them. Amy looked at Ben and Kate. The galactic core was thousands of light years away from the frontier sectors. No known race lived there because the radiation and gravitational forces were too dangerous. They followed Pete through the corridors of New Geneva Station to the monitoring center. The room was full of screens and communication equipment that watched for threats from deep space. The operators were all looking worried. Show me what you found, Amy said. Pete pointed to a large screen that showed radio signals coming from the galactic core. The signals started 3 hours ago. They are very powerful and seem to be some kind of scanning pattern. Whatever is sending them is looking for something. Ben studied the signal patterns. I have never seen anything like this. The power levels are incredible. What kind of technology could send signals this strong across the galaxy? Kate looked at the star charts. The signals are not aimed at Council space or the frontier sectors. They seem to be scanning everything randomly, like someone just woke up and wants to see what is out there. Amy felt a chill run down her back. Something in the galactic core had become active and was looking around the galaxy. She hoped it was just some natural phenomenon, but her instincts told her it was something much more dangerous. Keep monitoring those signals, she told Pete. If anything changes or if they start coming toward our space, I want to know immediately. As she walked back to her office, Amy thought about how much humans had changed in 5 years. They had been forced into exile as a punishment, but had become stronger and smarter than ever before. They had new technology, new allies, and new hope for the future. The Council had wanted humans gone, and now they had their wish. But Amy suspected that very soon, the Council would realize they had made a terrible mistake. Something was stirring in the dark spaces of the galaxy, and when it arrived, the aliens who had banished humanity might desperately need the help of the race they had thrown away. 7 years had passed since humans were forced to leave Council space. Admiral Tony Rivers stood on the bridge of the carrier New Earth and watched his fleet practice battle formations in the asteroid fields around New Geneva Station. The ships moved like a school of deadly fish, dodging between the floating rocks with perfect coordination. Tony was a tall man with black skin and serious dark eyes. He had been a young officer when the exile began, but now he commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. The ships under his command were built with technology that no Council race had ever seen. They were fast, quiet, and carried weapons that could punch holes through any armor. The New Earth was his flagship and the pride of human engineering. The ship was 2 kilometers long with a hull made from metals found only in the dangerous frontier sectors. Its engines could push it faster than any Council vessel, and its weapons could destroy targets from incredible distances. Admiral, we are receiving priority communications from Captain Pete Collins on the Border Patrol ship Ranger, said Lieutenant Susan Walsh from her station. Susan was young with brown hair and had been trained in the new human military academies built in exile. Tony pressed the communication button. Pete, what do you have for me? Pete's voice came through the speakers, sounding worried and excited at the same time. Tony, you need to see this. We just picked up 3 ships entering frontier space from the direction of the galactic core. The ships do not match any known design, and they are not responding to our signals. Tony felt his muscles tense. For 2 years they had been monitoring strange signals from the galactic core, but no ships had ever appeared. What is their heading? They are moving toward the inner systems where most of our colonies are located. Admiral, these ships are huge. Each one is at least 5 kilometers long, and they are made from some kind of black metal that absorbs our scanner beams. How fast are they moving? Faster than anything should be able to move. They are covering distances that should take days, in just hours. Tony looked at the tactical displays around his bridge. The human colonies in the frontier sectors were spread across dozens of star systems. If hostile ships were heading toward them, he needed to respond quickly. Pete, maintain distance and keep watching them. Do not engage unless they attack first. I am bringing the main fleet to your position. Tony turned to his crew. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Set course for the Ross system where Captain Collins is patrolling. Battle stations, the New Earth, and 20 other human warships left the asteroid belt and jumped to faster than light speed using the new drive technology that Dr. Amy Carter had helped develop. The journey that would have taken weeks with old Council technology was completed in 4 hours. When they arrived at the Ross system, Tony saw the 3 alien ships on his screens and felt his blood turn cold. The ships were enormous and completely black like holes in space itself. They moved with purpose, scanning each planet and moon with beams of energy that seemed to drain light from the stars around them. Captain Kate Adams contacted him from the exploration ship Discovery, which was hiding behind one of the system's outer planets. Admiral, I have been watching these ships for 6 hours. They are not just scanning the planets, they are doing something to them. Every world they examine becomes darker, like they are sucking away its life. Tony studied the scanner readings. Any response to our communication attempts? Nothing. They act like we do not exist. Suddenly, one of the black ships changed course and headed straight toward a human mining station on the third planet. The station had 500 people working there, including families with children. All ships, move to intercept, Tony ordered. Do not let them reach that mining station. The human fleet raced toward the mining station, but the alien ship was incredibly fast. Tony watched in horror as the black vessel reached the station and extended some kind of energy beam toward the surface. Admiral called Lieutenant Susan from her scanning station. I am not reading any life signs from the mining station anymore. They are all gone. Tony felt rage building in his chest. Whatever these aliens were, they had just murdered 500 innocent humans. All ships open fire. Show them what human weapons can do. The human fleet unleashed their most powerful weapons at the black ship. Energy beams and kinetic projectiles struck the alien vessel, but seemed to have no effect. The black hull absorbed the attacks like a sponge soaking up water. The alien ship turned toward Tony's fleet and fired back. Beams of dark energy reached out and struck the human destroyer lightning. Tony watched in shock as the destroyer simply vanished, leaving no debris or wreckage behind. Admiral, called Captain Collins from the Ranger. I am reading massive energy signatures from the direction of the galactic core. More ships are coming. Dozens of them. Tony realized they were facing something far beyond human ability to fight. All ships retreat to New Geneva Station immediately. We need to warn our people and figure out what we are dealing with. As the human fleet jumped back, to faster than light speed, Tony looked back at the Ross system. The 3 black ships had moved on to the next planet and were continuing their deadly work. He had lost a mining station and a warship to an enemy that seemed unstoppable. Back at New Geneva Station, Dr. Amy Carter and her research team worked frantically to understand what they were facing. The data from the encounter showed technology that was far beyond anything in the known galaxy. These are not ships in the traditional sense, Amy explained to the emergency council meeting. They appear to be some kind of machine intelligence that consumes organic life and converts it into energy. Every living thing they encounter simply disappears. Admiral Ben Harper looked at the tactical reports. How many of them are there? We estimate at least 50 ships have emerged from the galactic core and more are coming. They are spreading out across the galaxy in a systematic pattern. It appears they intend to consume every living world they can find. Colonel Steve Grant was the leader of human ground forces and a man who did not trust any aliens. He was big with gray hair and scars from fighting pirates in the early years of exile. Let the council deal with this. They kicked us out of their space. Why should we help them? Dr. Kethra, the purple-skinned Nexari scientist, spoke from her position at the research table. Because if these machines consume all life in council space, they will eventually come for us too. This is not about politics anymore. This is about survival. Tony studied the star charts showing the path of the alien machines. They call themselves something. Our computers detected a signal when they destroyed the lightning. They call themselves the Devourers. Amy looked at the data from their encounter. The Devourers appear to be ancient, perhaps millions of years old. They may have been sleeping in the galactic core until something woke them up. Now they are following what seems to be an old program to consume all organic life in the galaxy. Captain. Lisa Park had returned from a diplomatic mission to the trader races beyond council space. She brought disturbing news. The independent races are in panic. Several worlds on the edge of council space have gone dark. No communications, no life signs, nothing. The Devourers are moving faster than anyone expected. Tony felt the weight of command pressing down on him. The human race had survived exile and grown stronger in the frontier sectors. They had new technology, new allies, and new hope for the future. But now they faced an enemy that could destroy all life in the galaxy. What do we know about council defenses, he asked. Ben Harper pulled up intelligence reports. Not much. Our spies report that council fleets are being destroyed as fast as they can engage the Devourers. Their energy weapons have no effect and their battle tactics are useless against a hive-mind enemy. Amy had been studying the Devourer technology with her team. There might be a way to fight them. Our kinetic weapons seem to cause some damage and our new shield technology might be able to resist their energy drain. But we would need more time to develop proper countermeasures. Colonel Grant stood up from his chair. We owe the Council nothing. Let them face the consequences of their arrogance. Tony looked around the room at the faces of human and alien leaders who had built a new civilization in exile. He thought about the mining families who had died in the Ross system and knew that their deaths would be just the beginning if the Devourers were not stopped. Prepare defensive positions around all human colonies, he ordered. Begin research into anti-Devourer weapons and tactics, and start monitoring Council communications. When they finally realize they cannot win this war alone, they are going to need help. Amy nodded. The same race they threw out for being too dangerous may be the only ones who can save them. Tony looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them, ancient machines were consuming worlds and moving closer to both Council space and the human frontier. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the ones you cast out are the ones you need most. The emergency signal came through the deep space communication array at 3 a.m. station time. Ambassador Lisa Park was awakened in her quarters aboard New Geneva Station by the urgent beeping of her personal communicator. She had been the chief human diplomat for 8 years since their exile began, and she knew the sound of desperation when she heard it. Lisa pulled on her uniform and walked quickly to the communication center. The duty officer was a young man named Carl, who looked very worried as he handed her the decoded message. Ma'am, this came through on one of the old Council diplomatic frequencies. The encryption is Zentari, but the message is addressed specifically to you, Carl said. Lisa read the message and felt her heart skip a beat. It was from High Chancellor Vexitar himself, the same Zentari leader who had led the vote to exile humanity 8 years ago. The message was short, but the meaning was clear. Ambassador Park, the Council requires immediate consultation with human leadership regarding mutual threats to galactic security. Request urgent meeting at neutral coordinates. Time is critical for all organic life. Lisa stared at the message for a long moment. Vexitar was asking for help, but he could not bring himself to actually use that word. The proud Zentari, who had called humans too dangerous for civilized space, was now begging them to come back. She contacted Dr. Amy Carter and Admiral Tony Rivers, who arrived at the communication center within minutes. Amy still had her red hair in a messy bun from sleeping, and Tony was carrying his military jacket over his arm. What does this mean? Amy asked after reading the message. Tony looked at the star charts showing Devourer movements. It means the Council is losing the war badly. 3 more systems went dark yesterday, including a major Valdorian industrial world. They have lost millions of people and dozens of fleets. Lisa activated the communication array to send a reply. Chancellor Vexitar, this is Ambassador Lisa Park of the Human Federation. We acknowledge your message and agree to meet at the coordinates you provided. However, human representatives will come under human military protection and as equals, not as subjects of the Council. The reply came back within an hour, which meant Vexitar had been waiting by his communicator for a human response. Ambassador Park understood and agreed. Please come quickly. The situation grows worse each day. 3 days later, Lisa found herself aboard the human diplomatic ship Peacemaker, heading toward the neutral meeting point. The ship was escorted by 4 of the new human destroyers, commanded by Captain Alex Turner. Alex was a young officer with short blonde hair who had been trained in the military academies built during exile. The meeting was held aboard a small space station in an empty system halfway between Council space and the frontier sectors. When Lisa walked into the meeting room, she saw how much the war had changed the aliens who had once seemed so powerful. High Chancellor Vexitar looked old and tired. His purple skin had lost its healthy color, and his big black eyes seemed haunted. Elder Gromax of the Valdorians was missing his left arm and had bandages covering part of his lizard-like face. Several of the other Council representatives were not there at all, probably because their homeworlds had been consumed by the Devourers. Ambassador Park, Vexitar said in his high voice, thank you for coming. We need to discuss how our races can work together against the machines. Lisa sat down at the negotiating table but kept her voice formal. Chancellor Vexitar, 8 years ago you told this galaxy that humans were too dangerous to live among civilized races. You said we were violent and could not be trusted. What has changed? Vexitar's eyes looked down at the table. We were wrong. Ambassador, we let fear guide our decisions instead of wisdom. Now we face an enemy that makes our old disagreements seem foolish. Elder Gromax spoke in his grinding voice. The Devourers have consumed 17 council worlds. 3 entire races have been wiped out completely. Our fleets cannot stop them, and our worlds cannot defend themselves. We need help. What kind of help? Lisa asked, though she already knew the answer. Military assistance, Vextar said quietly. Human technology and tactics. Your people have always been good at war, perhaps too good we thought. Now we realize that may be exactly what the galaxy needs. Lisa opened her briefcase and pulled out a data pad with intelligence reports. We have been monitoring Devourer movements and Council military responses. Your energy weapons are useless against their adaptive shielding. Your large battle formations are easily destroyed by their coordinated attacks. You are fighting with the wrong weapons using the wrong strategies. But you have better weapons, asked a small blue Kefri representative. We have different weapons. Kinetic projectiles instead of energy beams. Small unit tactics instead of mass. Formations. Hit-and-run attacks instead of standing battles. We learned to fight this way because we had to survive in the dangerous frontier sectors. Vexitar leaned forward eagerly. Will you help us, Ambassador? Will humans come back to Council, space to fight the Devourers? Lisa looked at the desperate faces around the table. These were the same aliens who had voted to throw humanity out of civilized space. They had called humans dangerous and violent. Now they wanted those same dangerous, violent humans to save them. That decision is not mine to make, Chancellor. I will take your request back to the Human Federation leadership. But I should warn you that many humans feel betrayed by the Council. There are those who think we should let you face the consequences of your past actions. The meeting continued for several more hours with the Council representatives providing detailed information about Devourer capabilities and weaknesses. Lisa learned that the machines were indeed ancient and seemed to be following a program to consume all organic life in the galaxy. They had probably been sleeping in the galactic core for millions of years until something had activated them. When the meeting ended, Lisa returned to the Peacemaker with a full understanding of how desperate the situation had become. The proud council races who had once ruled the galaxy were facing extinction, and only the exiled humans had the technology and tactics to stop it. Back at New Geneva Station, Lisa presented her report to the Human High Command. The debate that followed was intense and emotional. Colonel Steve Grant argued strongly against helping the Council. They threw us out like garbage, Steve said, pounding his fist on the table. They called us dangerous animals who could not be trusted. Now they want us to save their lives. Let them burn. Dr. Amy Carter disagreed. If the Devourers consume Council space, they will have access to billions more lives to convert into energy. They will become unstoppable, and eventually they will come. For us too. Captain Alex Turner spoke from his experience escorting the diplomatic mission. I saw the Council representatives, Ambassador. They are broken people. Their pride is gone, and they know they made a mistake. Maybe it is time to be the bigger people and help them. Admiral Tony Rivers studied the tactical situation on the main display screen. From a purely military standpoint, we need the Council's industrial base and population centers to survive. If the Devourers consume those resources, they will be 10 times stronger when they finally reach the frontier sectors. Dr. Kethra, the Nexari scientist, added her perspective. The Council races are not evil, they are just frightened and proud. They made a mistake 8 years ago, but that does not mean they deserve to die. The debate continued for hours, but finally, Admiral Jake Morrison stood up to speak. Jake was now the supreme commander of all human forces, and his word carried great weight. He was older now, with gray streaks in his brown hair, but his voice was still strong. The Council wanted humans gone, and they got their wish, Jake said, looking around the room. We survived in exile and became stronger than they ever imagined. Now they need us, and that gives us power. We will help them, but on our terms. Lisa felt relief wash over her. What terms, Admiral? Human forces will operate under human command. We keep all salvage rights from destroyed Devourer ships. The Council formally recognizes the Human Federation as an independent power equal to their own. And when this war is over, humans will never again be treated as second-class citizens in this galaxy. Amy nodded approvingly. The Council cast us out because they feared our potential. When we save them from the Devourers, they will learn that their fears were foolish. We are not conquerors, we are protectors. Jake looked at the star charts showing both Council space and the frontier sectors. Prepare the fleet for immediate deployment. We are going back to Council space, but this time we go as equals, not as supplicants. The galaxy is about to learn why it was a mistake to throw away the most adaptable and determined race they had ever encountered. Lisa smiled as she prepared the message that would change the course of galactic history. The Council had wanted humans gone, and now they begged for their return. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from conquest, but from being needed by those who once rejected you. The battle for the Central Core began at dawn on the third moon of Valdor Prime. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship Freedom's Edge, watching hundreds of ships from both human and Council fleets form into battle lines. In the distance, the massive Devourer armada approached like a black cloud that swallowed light itself. Jake was now 50 years old, with gray hair and lines around his eyes from years of command. He wore the simple blue uniform of the Human Federation, navy with no fancy decorations. Behind him, Dr. Amy Carter worked at a science station preparing to deploy the secret weapon that could save or doom the galaxy. Admiral, we count over 300 Devourer ships approaching, reported Captain Susan Walsh from the tactical station. They are arranged in perfect geometric patterns like they are following some ancient battle program. Jake studied the enemy formation on his displays. The Devourers had grown stronger since consuming dozens of Council worlds. Their ships were larger now and moved with the coordinated precision of a hive mind intelligence. Each vessel was a black wound in space that seemed to absorb the light of nearby stars. Status report from all fleet commanders, Jake ordered. Captain Alex Turner's voice came through the communication system from the destroyer pack he commanded. Human destroyers are in position, Admiral. All kinetic weapons are loaded and ready. We have enough projectiles for 6 hours of continuous combat. Admiral Ben Harper spoke from the carrier New Earth, which carried most of the human fighter squadrons. All fighters are prepared for launch. We have been training for this battle for 2 years. High Chancellor Vextar contacted them from his command ship in the Council Fleet section. The proud Zentari leader sounded nervous but determined. Ambassador Park, Human Federation forces are authorized to take tactical command of all combined fleet operations. We place our trust in your experience. Jake felt the weight of history pressing on his shoulders. 8 years ago, these same Council races had thrown humans out of civilized space for being too dangerous. Now they were betting everything on human military skill to save them from extinction. Dr. Carter, are you ready with the virus program? Amy looked up from her science station where streams of data flowed across multiple screens. Her red hair was now streaked with gray, but her green eyes still burned with scientific curiosity. The quantum virus is loaded and ready for deployment, Jake. If we can get it into their hive mind network, it should disrupt their coordination for several hours. Will that be enough time to destroy their fleet? It will have to be. We only get one chance at this. The Devourer ships reached weapons range and opened fire with beams of dark energy that seemed to drain the life from space itself. Council ships that were struck simply vanished, leaving no debris behind. But the human vessels, with their advanced shielding technology, managed to deflect most of the attacks. All ships execute attack pattern Delta, Jake commanded. Hit them fast, hit them hard, and keep moving. The human fleet broke formation and attacked, in small groups using the tactics they had learned fighting pirates and hostile aliens in the frontier sectors. Unlike the Council races who favored large formations and energy weapons, humans used speed and kinetic projectiles to strike where the enemy was weakest. Captain Alex Turner led his destroyers in close to launch their railgun projectiles at point-blank range. The metal slugs, traveling at incredible speed, punched through Devourer hulls that had easily absorbed Council energy weapons. Direct hits on Target 7, Alex reported. Their hull is cracking, but they are still operational. Jake watched as human fighters swarmed around the massive devourer ships like angry insects. The small craft were too fast for the enemy's heavy weapons to track, and they planted explosive charges on critical systems before darting away. But for every devourer ship that was damaged, two more appeared to take its place. The enemy seemed to have unlimited numbers, and they adapted quickly to human tactics. Jake realized they needed to deploy Amy's virus soon, or the battle would be lost. "Amy, we need that virus now," he called across the bridge. "I need to get closer." "To their command ship," Amy replied. "The virus has to be delivered directly to their central processing unit, or it will not spread through their network." Jake looked at the tactical display showing the largest devourer ship at the center of their formation. It was 10 kilometers long and protected by dozens of smaller vessels. Getting close enough to upload the virus would be a suicide mission. "Captain Turner, take your fastest destroyer and escort Dr. Carter to the Devourer command ship," Jake ordered. "Admiral, that ship is surrounded by their entire fleet. We will never make it through," Alex replied. "Yes, you will, because every other ship in this fleet is going to create the biggest distraction in galactic history." Jake activated the fleet-wide communication channel. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. We are going to hit the enemy with everything we have to clear a path for our science team. Some of us will not survive this attack, but if we succeed, we save every living world in the galaxy." The combined human and council fleets charged directly at the center of the Devourer formation. Ships exploded on both sides as massive weapons, fired at close range. Jake watched brave crews sacrifice themselves to give Alex and Amy a chance to reach the enemy command vessel. The destroyer Lightning Strike, with Amy and her virus program aboard, slipped through the chaos and reached the huge Devourer command ship. Alex used every trick he had learned in 8 years of frontier combat to avoid the defensive fire, while Amy worked to penetrate the enemy's computer systems. "I'm in," Amy announced over the communication system. "Uploading the virus now. It will take 60 seconds to fully deploy." Those 60 seconds felt like hours as human and council ships fought desperately to keep the Devourers distracted. Jake watched his fleet take terrible casualties, but no one retreated or gave up. They had all seen what the Devourers did to living worlds, and they would rather die fighting than live as slaves to machines. "Virus deployed successfully," Amy reported. "I'm reading massive system failures throughout their fleet network." Suddenly, the perfect coordination of the Devourer ships began to break down. Individual vessels started firing randomly or flying in confused patterns. The hive mind that had made them so dangerous was disrupted by Amy's quantum virus. "All ships press the attack," Jake ordered. "Hit them while they are confused." The battle turned into a rout as human and council forces destroyed Devourer ships faster than they could adapt. The ancient machines that had consumed dozens of worlds were finally vulnerable, and the combined fleet showed no mercy. When the last Devourer ship was destroyed, Jake felt exhaustion wash over him. They had won, but at a terrible cost. Nearly half. The human fleet was gone, and thousands of good people had died to save the galaxy. High Chancellor Vexitar's voice came through the communication system, sounding amazed and grateful. "Admiral Morrison, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I formally thank the Human Federation for saving all organic life in the galaxy. Without your courage and skill, we would all be dead." 6 months later, Jake stood in the Great Assembly Hall on the neutral world of Haven, where the Terran Accords were being signed. Ambassador Lisa Park sat at the negotiating table across from representatives of the reformed Galactic Council. The agreement would establish humanity as the fourth major galactic power alongside the council races. The terms were everything humanity could have asked for. The Human Federation would control the frontier sectors as their sovereign territory. Human colonies would be established in former council space. Most importantly, humanity would never again be treated as subjects who needed council permission to exist. The Galactic Council formally recognizes the Human Federation as an equal partner in galactic civilization, Vexitar announced as he signed the accords. "We also formally apologize for our past mistakes and welcome humanity back to their rightful place among the stars." Jake watched the ceremony and thought about the long journey that had brought them to this moment. 8 years ago, the Council had feared human potential and tried to exile them to empty space. That exile had made humanity stronger, and when the galaxy needed saving, it was human courage and ingenuity that provided salvation. Dr. Amy Carter approached him with a data pad showing exploration reports from the far edge of known space. Jake, the deep space probes have found evidence of more ancient machine civilizations beyond the galactic rim. The Devourers may have been just the first wave. Jake smiled as he looked at the reports. Humanity had spent 8 years learning to survive. In the most dangerous parts of the galaxy, if more ancient enemies were out there, the other races would need human help to face them. Then I guess it's a good thing the galaxy has us back, he said. The Council wanted humans gone, but they learned something important. Sometimes the people you cast out are exactly the ones you need most. As the ceremony continued, Jake looked out through the great windows at the ships of the human fleet orbiting Haven. They were no longer the exiled outcasts who had been thrown into the frontier darkness. They were the protectors of galactic civilization and the explorers who would lead all races into an uncertain but hopeful future among the stars. The Council had wanted humans gone, but now they would never let them leave again.